So, my name is Gawain Jameson. I am speaking on the Jew of Color, the Shema Israel um, series of videos. I thought I'd do something I normally don't do since it's speaking about myself and my thoughts is something that I usually don't do. I figured I'd come out in nature, come outside in this good earth and share a couple of thoughts that I have in this environment. So, uh, member of CRC, board member at CRC, trying to be an active participant. I found out about CRC through a Facebook ad actually it wasn't about CRC, it was about an Intro to Judaism class. When Facebook years ago used to run banners on the side with ads. And I clicked on it, selected CRC, honestly, because it was the closest to my house. I live in North City, North St. Louis. So, went, met Maggie Dewey, had a pleasant experience, was invited to come back out, came back out about maybe 2 months later, and been coming ever since. Honestly, a little background, I've always been interested in religion and philosophy. Kind of wish I wanted to be a philosophy major when I got out of high school, but people don't pay a lot of money to sit around and think, so kind of scratched that. Not like I'm making a lot of money now, but I'm okay. So, okay. So yeah, that's kind of how I found out about CRC. Since I've been at CRC, I've kind of been exposed to quite a few different things in the Jewish world, a couple of different places. I will be honest, I don't have a lot of experience. I don't have a lot of tales of going someplace and feeling unwelcome, feeling unwanted. I remember one year I went to the Chase when the high holidays were still being held at the Chase, and one of the ushers asked me, kind of stopped me, asked if I need any help or something, and I'm like, "Yep, dude, I'm good. I know where I'm at. I'm in the right area." I told a couple of people about that and doing one of the breakout sessions. I think they took it a little more harder than I did. So I don't. It's not like I'm not gonna say I don't have those experiences, because trust me and believe it's not like I have rose-colored glasses or anything. But, and this is very important, there is no space in America, in St. Louis, in this region. There's nowhere that I enter and I'm not aware of the fact that I'm a black man. Every single time, whether it's someone's house, it's CRC, the one or two times I went to BSKI before it closed, there is, even when I went to Base Abraham, every place that I go as a black man. I go fully rooted in the knowledge that I'm a black man. So, I'm always prepared, or I try to prepare myself for whatever kind of response I might get. If I get a positive response, awesome. If I get a negative response, I'm gonna do what I need to do. So I couldn't sit here and run down a list of times when I felt accosted. Have I had the police called on me? Yes. Have I been profiled before? Yes. And that was actually by a black cop, but that's neither here nor there. But I don't want people to gloss over that, though, when I say that everything I do in this country, I do rooted in the knowledge of being a black man. So because of that, I have to be on point. I have to always be ready. I have to always have a plan. I mean, I've been in people's homes, and believe you not, I've been in different neighborhoods and different people's homes, and every single time I went into those spaces well aware of my blackness, well aware that there are times when that may not be respected, perceived, wanted, and every time I've had a plan of what to do in case it went south. That might be, to some people, uncomfortable way to live, unfortunate way to live, but it's a reality. I can't afford to live in the world not being prepared for that reality. I still live in North City. I still live in North St. Louis. I cross Delmar, the part of Delmar that a lot of people don't want to cross, the Delmar Divide. So at no point in time, whether other people are aware of my blackness, at no point in time can I not be aware of that. I have people who depend on me. I have family that needs me, and I need them. So can't I can't be careless. Let that not I can't let anything threaten that. So yeah, I mean, I remember one time after the Mike Brown situation, and I'm really bad with names, but there was a group of people that came and they were speaking about understanding whiteness or something. I don't know. But they had a couple of different meetings and I attended, because I was interested, curious to see what they were going to say. And there was one session where I got there late. And by getting there late, I ended up sitting at the same table with Rabbi Susan, which was kind of cool. But as the program went on, it didn't click for me. It didn't work for me anymore, because there was some part where they had us go stand in front of the room, and then all the European Americans were sitting at the table still, and I think we were going around sharing our life stories or things that have happened to us, and it kind of hit me at that moment, like, what's the point? And don't get me wrong, I understand that talking to people, there's people who say, well, I was a racist and I got to know people from other groups and it changed my reality. And that's beautiful. But I'm sitting here looking at these people in the audience and I'm like, wait a minute. The same people who have the utmost compassion for what happens to an animal. I mean, I can go out here I wouldn't, but I can go out here if I kick a dog or push a cat away from me, especially if there's Europeans around, they're going to react passionately, ask me what's wrong with me, and say, hey, why are you acting like that, and don't treat an animal like that. Yet I'm supposed to think that these people can't see the humanity in me, that I'm a whole entity that, minus some surface differences, looks just like you, and I gotta try to convince you of my humanity? Or I'm supposed to tell you that my life matters? That kind of, I'm gonna be honest with you, that kind of hits me a little, that don't sit too well with me. If it's 2020, if I have to convince a grown person, a group of people, that my life matters, is something seriously wrong with that individual. I mean, let's stop kidding ourselves. It's time to, take a little sense out of nonsense. Who the hell doesn't know that Black Lives Matter? When you call for the police and that black cop shows up, that Black Lives Matter? You didn't question that quality of the humanity of that person. When, God forbid, there's a fire and the fire department shows up, you see all kind of humanity right there. You don't say, a couple of white firefighters showed up and some black whatever showed up with them. It's like, oh, thank God, fireman, thank you for saving my house, or thank you for rescuing us. So, a lot of this is contextual. So when you want to recognize humanity, or when people want to recognize humanity, they do. And when they don't want to recognize humanity, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, well, I gotta do something to convince you, you know what I'm saying? Basically, I can walk and chant and pray and sing and drum from here to the end of time. But fundamentally speaking, people know, Black Lives Matter. It's not something that's not groundbreaking. And I'm going to be even more blunt. It's 2020. If understanding that Black Lives Matter is a groundbreaking development for you, if that moves the needle, if that shocks you, then what the hell have you been doing? What kind of life are you living? You know what I'm saying? That's one thing about black people. Whether they're Republican, Democrat, rich, poor, ghetto, successful, bougie, we understand that all life matters. That's something that's ingrained in us. It's not a loss that we didn't know lives matter. We understand that. We're put in a situation where we have to acknowledge that, you know? So, yeah, I mean, it's time to have an adult conversation about this. It's time to kind of take the kid gloves off and say, we need to reach out to people. Understand this. And I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, we're glad to talk to some people and gain some understanding. But I'm a firm believer in this. Black people, there's nothing we can do about racism. We can't perform our way out of it. We can't act our way out of it. We can't pray our way out of it. We can't sing our way out of it. We can't talk proper, get educated, anything like that. There's nothing we can do about that. Just like anti-Semitism. There's nothing Jewish people can do about anti-Semitism. It fundamentally boils down to the fact that if you encounter anti-Semitism, that means that person made the concerted effort to treat you less than they would treat themselves. So, I mean, and don't get me wrong, because I know this may come up. I'm not against dialogue, but just like at some point in time, that's why education is, like a fundamental education, not just to make people smart enough to pull levers and work jobs. I mean, like a fundamental education to make people think, that if there is a magic bullet or, a solution or something, it's education, and I mean like a fundamental, like a classical education, the basics, reading, writing, math, science, but also humanities, philosophy, that kind of stuff. That would probably be the closest thing I could think that would make the world, that would begin to put the world on the right path. But understand, there are just some people who are fundamentally dedicated to denying your Jewness, your gayness, your blackness, whatever it may be. And in this world, you have to deal with them one way or another. So, have I felt uncomfortable in Jewish spaces? Again, no, because I go in those spaces already uncomfortable. I go in those spaces already knowing who I am and what I am willing to tolerate and what I won't tolerate. And so because of that, I'm firmly, I am definitely, I'm not even looking for what they may call overt, intimidation or microaggressions or whatever like that. Because I understand that people will choose to respond from wherever they are in their personal life, in their personal development. And believe you me, I am going to respond from whatever way that I see fit, given that situation. So I've been lucky. I mean, when I went to, I will say this, that I've always, and I'll acknowledge this, that I think going to CRC as my first experience was probably, almost divinely special, because had I been introduced in some other environment, maybe I wouldn't have stuck around as long as I have at CRC. Maybe I wouldn't like it as much. So I don't lose sight of that, because I've been to a few other places and I've enjoyed the experience at those places, but it wasn't CRC. It's actually having CRC as kind of there's a base that has helped me kind of judge my experiences and stuff in these other situations. And I think that's, and I personally think that's been very positive, So, yeah. The current environment we live in, definitely. I think, I can't think of the guy's name, but he said to be a black man in America and not be angry, you have to be out of your mind. You know what I'm saying? You would have to be. And we live in an environment now where people are purposefully, let's call it what it is. People are purposefully stroking up animus based off of any and everything. People of color, people from other countries, people with different sexual orientations. It's not even subtle anymore. It's just, this is the way it is, And, we live in a country now where hate crime across the board is on the increase. Hate crime against Jews, hate crimes against, African Americans. So, yeah, we takes all kinds. For everyone who is, who has on the glasses and tries to only see the good in other people and hopes for the best, I love them people. I think they're beautiful. And I think there are other people who plan for the worst, help keep some of those rose-colored glass people safe and alive, or needed too. And I find myself in that second kind of category. That's just my personal outlook, the personal way I see things. I can get over here and lie and say, try to portray myself as something different, but it's not. But yeah, that's kind of been my experience. That's kind of how I've approached the world. That's how I'll probably keep approaching it. And because this is survival. At the end of the day, I'm gonna keep it real with you people. Hopefully whoever sees this video. I got friends and colleagues at CRC, and when they leave and they disperse to different areas and around the city and county, I'm glad that they can go to those areas and enjoy peace and comfort. But I have to keep it real. Things can be tense. Things can be dangerous, And so I keep that in mind, whether I'm going to North City, whether I'm going to North County, whether I'm going to Chesterfield, whatever. That's just been my mode of living, That's how I was raised. It is what it is. So yeah, I hope that if anybody, if I say anything that makes people uncomfortable, or wasn't meant on purpose, but I'm not in the lying business. I'm not in the fairy tale business, It's dangerous out here. It's dangerous for black men out here. It's dangerous for black women out here. It's dangerous for black children out here, So the people who engage in efforts to make the world a better place, I applaud you, Is there always more I can do? Of course. Do I try? I try. Will there be more that I do? Of course. But, I tip my hat to you. God bless you. Most High rain blesses down upon you, because it's needed, So, yeah. Hope this message finds everyone safe and well. Can you imagine having to deal with racism, and then on top of it, now we're in the middle of a pandemic? But anyway, peace and blessings. Hope you enjoy this message. If you have any questions, you see me, feel free to say something to me. Until then, have a good one.